I think the first reason and the most important reason to have written this book was to explain and to talk openly about the role of financial power and influence in national security, and to underscore the reality that now in the post 9/11 period we have seen financial power in some cases take pride of place in terms of our strategy. And one need only look to current events to understand how that is and why that is. If you look at the question of groups like Al-Shabaab or the fractured Al-Qaeda movement, the question of how groups like that continue to survive and persist and actually grow in terms of their capabilities and reach and how they're financing themselves, that continuously is a key issue in national security. And so that's what this book is about. It's about the development of that strategy, the development of those tools, the use of financial intelligence, and the political will to use these tools and influence to actually go after the finances of America's enemies. This all started, of course, after 9/11, where a lot of these tools were amplified, expanded, deepened, and broadened. And so the paradigm in many ways was applied in the terrorist financing context, but then was evolved intentionally to look at issues like proliferation and proliferation finance, rogue states and the way that they were accessing and using the commercial and financial system, transnational organized crime groups, drug cartels, etc. In this new world of financial warfare, it's no longer a question of unilateral or multilateral sanctions. It's no longer a question of what sanctions you can get through the UN Security Council. It's a question of how you can galvanize the financial and commercial globalized system to isolate these actors from that world. What this new era does actually is to really define financial power as its own implement of national security. That financial power, the ability to leverage the financial community, the ability to use financial authority and influence and suasion, is actually a power unto itself. Treasury is now a central part of that story, is now a central part of the national security complex. Treasury actually has put aside the guns and badges. It has fundamental tools and authorities that give the U.S. government global reach. On Iran, by the way, I think it's interesting that as we hear them talk about what they want in terms of relief from sanctions, the very first thing that they want actually is to be plugged back into the banking system. Because at the heart of Iranian, North Korean, Al-Qaeda, and other rogue actor isolation is the inability to bank around the world, the inability to have access to correspondent accounts, the inability to wire money across borders, the inability to have liens and banking facilities to provide the backing for trade finance. So it's actually the access to the financial system which is the core of the financial isolation of the Iranians. And it's why they've asked in the first instance to be plugged back into the SWIFT bank messaging system, which the Europeans have unplugged. And so I think the grand lesson of this period is that financial power is not only essential but can teach us some very important lessons strategically about where we go with the use of financial influence and American power writ large.